why Carrasco? Wait, what about the name?
He said Anthony Carrasco. He said great name because his name's Anthony. I
Carrasco.
said, yeah, he was actually referring to Carrasco.
I'm a little slow right now.
I thought
but
the joke
I got
thing was
it.
your thing.
I know. I know. Do you know how embarrassing that is? Welcome to the Beardsmen, where we talk, mock, and never walk away from the conversation. I'm here with the founders of Live Bearded, a.k.a. the Beardsmen, Spencer and Anthony.
What's up?
What's up, boys? My name is Spence.
I'm Mink, and like JR said, we're the crazy mofos who started Live Bearded. You know, and as founders, we've had the privilege to have thousands of conversations with Beardsmen over the years. And I got to tell you, it's one of our favorite parts of our jobs here at Live Bearded.
Absolutely.
And we started this show to take that conversation to you guys, to answer your questions, and to really talk about the experience of being a man in the world today.
Yeah, guys, we're extremely passionate about supporting and encouraging men to be the best that they can be. And this show is really straightforward. This is an Ask Us Anything. This is your opportunity to throw up questions, lifestyle, beard related, men's lifestyle related, personal development, business.
Ask us
literally
anything,
ask
guys,
us anything.
whatever you want.
Yeah, if you want them to get a tattoo, ask them to get a tattoo. They'll do it.
And if you ask JR to show you his tattoo, he might do it as well.
Ooh.
It may or may not be in a. We're just actually.
We might have
we're
to
gonna
blur
keep
that
it
out,
moving.
actually.
We're gonna keep
Yeah.
it
All right,
moving.
keep moving. All
This
right.
is family, not really friendly, actually. But so
We're friendly with families.
There you go. So they
That's
submit
works.
questions. How do they do that, JR?
Yeah, you can comment your questions below in the video, or you can email them to us at asklivebearded.com. Ask@livebearded.com.
That is ask@livebearded.com.
Yep.
Yeah, it was ask@livebearded.com.
Not ass at
Not
Live Bearded.
ass.
No.
But ask. There is a
But
K
if
there.
you do Live Bearded, you may get more.
It might.
That took a second. That was a slow burn.
That was a good
slow
one.
burn.
How you guys doing, man? How's the week going so far? What's new?
Oh, well, I mean, we've had a busy, it's a short week. It's Tuesday when we're filming this, but we just actually walked a new warehouse, a little Live Bearded behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
I'm
in.
super excited because we've been looking for a new warehouse. We outgrew our space. It's a good problem to have, but it's a freaking problem, right?
Yeah.
And finding new space. I mean, we've been on this
problem.
dude,
This is what's crazy. Like all my business owners out there, they understand this. If you've never ran a business, what you don't understand is the shit that you have to do beyond just selling the product. Like I never would have imagined all of the BS that we would have had to deal with. And last time we first got a warehouse, it was like what, 3,000 feet?
Yep.
And we thought it was huge. We're like, oh,
we
this
had like
is
3
so
racks
big.
in there. It was so empty. We're like, oh, we have so much room. We can play basketball back here. We can throw the football.
Yeah, we're like, we're gonna get a weight set in the back.
That lasted like 2 months.
And then like 6 months later, because of all of you guys that are out there support us, we fucking love you. We literally ran out of space and we moved out of that warehouse really quickly, but it took us like a year and a half to find another one. Wasting all this time looking at warehouses. Fast forward, we got a new place. Fast forward a year and a half, we've outgrown this one again because of all of you guys out there listening. Again, we fucking love you.
So just to clarify, you were in like a 3,000 square foot warehouse.
Yep.
And then you moved to this place that we're currently in right now,
Yeah.
which is 7,000?
Yeah.
More or less.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With everyone there.
And again, when we moved in, we're like,
grow.
we have so much room. We can play ping pong back here. We're going to have this awesome setup. Everyone's pumped up.
We set up this amazing lounge in the back, and like 6 months later, the lounge was
gone.
out,
She
desks
gone.
were in. Like
Yeah.
we're like, we're running out of space.
Nah.
So now we just toured a place that's 13,500.
Yeah, about just shy of 14,000 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah. it's a
And
little
what's
bit bigger.
amazing is it's been a nightmare to try to find a new place.
Yep.
We looked at a couple, they didn't feel right. And I have this philosophy, guys. One of my favorite authors his name's Michael Singer. And he wrote this book called The Surrender Experiment. And really what it's about in summary is surrendering our personal biases and beliefs at times and just going with the flow of life. Oftentimes life, God, grace, whatever your belief system is, has a bigger plan for you. And if you just get yourself out of the way, something bigger and better will come. And so we were like looking at places, nothing was falling into place. It was like too far away or not the right one. And I was just like, Spence and I have just developed this belief because we read the book several years ago. We talk about
It's
it a lot.
fantastic. It's a must read for everyone out there. If
Yeah.
you haven't, The Surrender Experiment, Michael Singer. It'll check you a little bit to kind of not try to control everything, step back and trust that you know what's going to come is going to come. And it's
so we were like,
fantastic.
whenever something isn't, it's like a round peg in a square hole. Spence and I remind ourselves or remind each other, like, hey man, let's just surrender. Let's go with it. Something better is coming.
Yeah. And this is a point to make. we could have easily said, fuck it. Let's reduce or lower our standards or expectations and make accommodations for this, that, or the other, right?
Yeah.
And we can not check all the boxes that we want in order to force, a space to work. And we said, no, we need the right space. It's going to come. We have confidence, trust the process. And a few months later,
Boom.
the spot opened up literally next door.
Yeah.
It's a 10 out of 10. The owner's awesome, so we got good rapport there. We're gonna get it. It's not signed, sealed, and delivered, but we're speaking it into existence.
Exactly.
It's gonna happen.
You gotta
surrender.
see it before it happens.
100%.
You gotta say it.
So
before
that's a
it's
big
real.
freaking win for the company because this is massive.
Yeah,
So we're excited. So
I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Don't take my low energy. Not enthusiastic.
You're gonna have a nice,
I'm very
dedicated,
excited.
a little more privacy.
Yeah.
I love our team, and they're so willing to just do whatever it takes and just grind and come in with good attitudes. But it's we're running out of space. We want to create a little better environment for everybody here.
Yeah, if any of you guys have lived in a cramped space that's cluttered, that's got shit everywhere, it doesn't feel great. No. And so I'm really, really, really excited. And honestly, again, like I've already said a couple times, but Live Bearded exists because of the incredible community, to you guys listening, and to know that our first warehouse, we went from literally my living room, Spencer and I licking and sticking envelopes in 2016, to kind of working remote, to having our first warehouse at 3,000 feet, then 7,000 feet, now almost 14,000 feet over the course of the last 7 years. It's been a wild ride, and it's probably bigger than you and I ever thought. Yeah. Not to get too long-winded on the Live Bearded journey, but it's really incredible what this community has done and the support that you've given us. And so I just want to humbly say thank you to everybody out there that supports us, that's listening. And I also want to say stay tuned because we are just getting started.
Woo! Yeah.
Just get warmed up, boys.
That's why we have the podcast. It's kind of your way of giving back, saying thank you to everyone.
Speaking of that, is this the first inaugural episode?
It is.
Holy shit.
This is the first one?
This is the first one we posted online ever.
To be fair, for you guys, if you want a little inside baseball, we've been recording and playing with formats for a couple of months. And honestly, one of the things I say all the time, the road to success is paved with failure. And oftentimes you have to be willing to do things wrong and bad to figure out what to do right. And so we, as a collective, the three of us, and then we've either had other people in, but for probably 2.5, 3 months, we've been practicing, testing, tweaking, trying different things. We look at it and post, we're like, that's not right, that's not right. And regardless what happens in this episode, we're posting this motherfucker. This is number one. We're taking it to the bank.
I'm holding up to it.
Yeah. So I think the premise of the show is not to talk about Live Bearded, but to answer our community's questions. And I know we got a couple of good ones. To Spence's point, we're going to answer 3 questions a week. You guys can submit them in a couple different ways, but we really just want to talk about the experience of being a man in the world today, answer your questions, have some fun, give you updates along the way, and stay connected. We love having conversations with you guys.
Yeah. Because boy howdy, isn't an experience being a man today.
Boy howdy is kind of what I was thinking when I saw your shirt. I was like, boy howdy.
Yeah. You like my loud shirt? Well, I mean, everyone here, not that I don't like the Live Bearded shirts, but I'm a very colorful person.
Bro, I think
it suits you well. You
since
wear it well.
This is the inaugural episode. I think you're just going to have to carry it through. I think every week you need to bring the color.
We can work that into the production budget, right? Just like a wardrobe.
A full new wardrobe for JR.
Every episode, there's
Endless
just a new shirt
shirts.
that comes up.
Yeah. I mean, we get you 5.
5?
Because that's like, if we're doing one a week, right? That gives you 5 weeks. Maybe we need more.
Maybe 8.
You know what?
Maybe 8.
Walmart, if you would like your shit sponsored, send us shirts. This is from Walmart. So there you go. You got your first plug right there.
Amazing.
Free advertising. You're not welcome. All right. First question we have from the community is from Regina. It is, of the brand's core values, which one resonates with you most and why?
Dude, I love that question. Obviously, we design these core values, so they all kind of mean something to all of us, right? But the one that jumps out, kind of gun to the head, would be actions over words. I think in the world we live in today, people are constantly creating content, projecting themselves in a certain way, and I think it's easy to mislead some smoke and mirrors, whether it's from a company perspective, a personal perspective. I think ultimately, let your actions speak louder than your words. That really, really resonates for me.
Yeah, I think we live in a world where we have a lot more talk and a lot less action.
Yeah.
So
and
much
I think
talk.
that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
One thing that really gets under my skin, and I shouldn't allow it to because it's just the world we live in today, but is the like people will say anything today because there's no accountability, right? We used to, like, if you said something to a motherfucker, you had to be willing to get punched in the face or back up what you were saying, because if you're gonna say some hurtful, like, abusive shit to someone, you had to do it in person. And now we have these fucking keyboard warriors. I saw this meme the other day. Oh my God, it was so great. It was a giant long keyboard, and it was a guy like full decked out in military gear with his keyboard, holding it like it was a gun. And it was like keyboard warriors.
That's so true, though.
So true.
Yeah. Well, before the internet, before you could do that, you would have to literally shit talk to somebody's face, and then you'd have to receive whatever response in real time.
Yeah. How much courage did you have to have? How much courage did you have to stand up to someone? Like, think back to when we were kids on the playground, and there was a bully, or you had a beef with someone. Like, you had to physically have courage to step up and to confront that person and say something.
The original trolling.
Yeah. Yeah. And now
Literally a couple of swipes of the fingers.
you don't need to have any courage to do anything. So to your point, Spence, action's greater than words. I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. For me, I think the one that I live my life by unequivocally to the best of my ability is better every day. I think my whole ethos is to just, like, I have this day one of one mentality. I post it every day on social media, but it's like day one of one. And people are like, what does that mean? It's like, we only have today, and I want to treat today like it's the only day I have. And so I want to get as good as I can today. I want to like squeeze all the juice out of it. I want to learn and grow. You know, I think this is so funny. I was at the gym yesterday, and I'm kind of a weird kid. I just have these like weird thoughts. And I thought to myself, like, I was at the gym and I was like, my shoulder rehab is going good. I'm feeling better about myself. And I'm like, damn, if I was a stock, like my stock value is going up right now. And then I was like, if I was a stock, I'd invest in myself. Like this is internal in my head, right? I'm like, I'm doing weights, right?
I'm GameStop.
I'm like, my stock's going up right now. And then I'm like, shit, if I was a stock, I'd invest in myself. And then I was like, bro, you're doing that every day. Like, you have literally went all in on yourself. You're investing into every aspect of your life, into your business, into your and then I was like, holy shit, are we as individuals, we all are our own stock, right? And a stock, if you think about stock value of a company, it is the value of a company, or the stock value is based on two factors. This is oversimplification. One, what's your current profits or value today? And what's your future potential profits tomorrow? And so it's like, how good are you today, and how good will you be tomorrow? And for me, better every day means I want to be as good as I can today, so I'm getting the most out of today. And tomorrow, I'm going to be even better. And just that compounding effect. So for me, without a doubt, it is better every day. And for all those listeners out there, man, if you would ask yourself this question, if I was a stock, is my value going up or down? And would you invest into you?
Well, think about it. It's yourself, your mindset, who you are, your skills. It's one of the only things that can't be taken away from you.
Yeah.
Right? And so markets can crash, economies can go sideways, whatever it is. If you invest into yourself and become a better version of yourself, learn those skills, it's the only thing that you can't lose. Because even if you lose everything, if you develop those skills, you can rebuild whatever it is.
Yeah, and it's anecdotal, but you know, they say Warren Buffett's the greatest investor of all time, and he says the number one investment you'll ever make is in yourself. You know, and so I don't think that there's anything more valuable, to your point, that we can invest in than ourselves, because we take ourselves everywhere we go.
Oh, that makes sense.
What about you, JR? What would be the one that connects with you?
For me,
Yeah.
the core values, I like better every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that like I resonate with most. Not that like I'm the best at doing it, but it's like, you know, it doesn't have to be like huge steps. It's just like marginal improvements.
Progress over
Today you
perfection.
woke up like 10 minutes earlier. Great. That counts.
Yeah.
That's better. That's better than yesterday. Yeah, so yeah, just making those marginal things, because I think you said something the other day, like ordinary things every day done with consistency builds to extraordinary. I butchered the quote right there.
Yeah.
But
The quote is, ordinary things practiced consistently create extraordinary results.
yeah, that was it.
Yeah. What I love about that,
That's what I said right there.
yeah, what I love about that is extraordinary. We would all like to be extraordinary at something, right? But extraordinary is extraordinary smashed together. Doing the extraordinary things every fucking day makes you extraordinary.
But everyone wants that easy button, Mink. What about that easy
not only
button?
that, but they want to overcomplicate or the flash or the fancy, like, you know, it's
Ordinary isn't sexy. right?
Fitness is always like a good example because we live in a world where like fitness is what, $1 trillion industry, from equipment to supplements to workout gear to everything to like like the whole thing, right? $1 trillion industry. And it's like, to get in shape, what do you need to do? Fucking run. That's it. Like eat right and run. That is the most simple, ordinary thing you can do. And the people that happen to get in the best shape are the ones that just do the most ordinary things. Consistently. Over time. And then they get extraordinary results. Or JR, like one of the things I remember when we were first getting to know you, I was like, what are your hobbies? And you're like, I just love content. I love comedy and I love creating content. That's my passion. And that's what obviously we hired you to do. That's why you're hosting the show and doing all the things that you do. And I was like,
it's literally all I do.
I fucking love that because you can get extraordinary at one thing by just doing the ordinary things every day.
Getting the reps up.
Working that comedy muscle.
Comedy muscle strong.
Yep.
There it is.
Oh, wait, it's here. We got another question here from the community. This is from Nathan. He said, if you had to start over right now from zero, no money, no established company, what would you do to rebuild? Or what would you even build?
Yeah, it's a great question. Assuming I'm starting over with all the skills and experience that I have.
And you have to start right now, 2023.
2023.
October. I don't know.
Yeah.
This day of October.
The way I think about this is, so success is based on the skills that we have, the character traits that we possess, and the beliefs that we carry about ourselves, those skills and those character traits. And so I think for anybody out there who's like in a position of starting from today, the first question that I would ask myself is, what skills do I have? And then what can I do with those skills? Or what skills do I need to create the results that I want? So for me, I'm actually kind of going through this right now because I'm starting something from scratch, which is my own content series based on being everything here with Live Bearded and what I've learned. I've really fallen in love with the process of creating content. So I'm in the process of building a YouTube series. And so I would go all in on that. And it would be creating content that shares my experiences, my thoughts, and basically educating and inspiring people through the different failures and lessons and pain points that I've had in my life. I think that would be probably the first thing that I would do. And then I would pair that with some type of product or service that could go along with it.
What about you, Spence?
Yeah, it's a great question. To be honest, I've never really thought about it. But I think to kind of piggyback on what Mink said and we were talking about better every day and just ordinary things, practice consistently. I think with the belief and the skill set, making the assumption that I have this skill set, I would get right back into the game of e-commerce, but be able to apply everything that we've learned through Live Bearded to condense time, right? When we started Live Bearded, Mink had some experience with Facebook ads. I was completely green in e-com, digital, anything. And so the journey over the last 7-8 years to learn the skills and kind of seeing what Live Bearded is today, to take those skills and duplicate it into another e-commerce brand, my assumption is that based on the knowledge and skill set that I have today, would be able to condense that time frame and that growth. So I would, we have a little something that we've been working on the side in the outdoor space. I'm super passionate about the outdoors. So if I were to go into a niche, it'd probably be into some men's related products tied to the outdoors.
Yeah.
So.
And I think too, like relating it back to someone who doesn't have our experience, because we've been, relatively successful in our business.
Garage to 3,000 square foot.
Less than 0.5% of all businesses ever do the revenue that we do, to give you some perspective. And that number is backed up by like Small Business Administration and certain things like that. So from a standpoint of Live Bearded success and growth, we're in the 0.5% of all businesses in America, which is pretty exciting. And that's come from you and I working our ass off and building an amazing team and developing an amazing team and empowering them and doing all those things. But if you're starting from scratch, I would go back to what I said in the very beginning. What skills do you have? What character traits do you have? And what are your beliefs? And then I think of it in terms of, we can develop cash producing skills, and those cash producing skills will help us generate revenue as we're figuring things out. So you, JR, you're a comedian on the side. And
Stop it.
if you wanted to use that as a career path, you could develop that into a cash producing skill that could potentially sustain you long term. And obviously, if that was a direction you wanted to go. Spence, you love fitness. You've always been one of the best shaped dudes I've ever seen, right? You could use your love for fitness and being in good shape as an entryway to develop the cash producing skill of being a personal trainer or an online fitness coach, or taking that foundation and going there. And when I got started with my online journey or my entrepreneurial journey, it was in 2009, and I had no fucking skills. And I knew I wanted to do online marketing, and I knew that if I was going to sell something online, I needed someone to see something. I needed traffic, I needed eyeballs, and I didn't know how to do that. So I said, well, I either need to do SEO or I need to do paid media. And SEO seemed complicated to me, and paid media, I could pay Facebook and get someone to view my stuff immediately. I was like, I need to learn paid media, because if I can generate traffic and then I can figure out how to convert that traffic, then I can have a cash producing skill. If you're an investor or a stock trader or you're a writer, or we all have the ability to generate a cash producing skill. So if you're starting from scratch and you want to create something, I would ask yourself, what cash producing skill do you have the potential to create, or would you want to create, and then reverse engineer that backwards and go out and learn how to do it? Because you can learn anything on YouTube today.
Yeah, 100%. But I think it'd be helpful to find something that you are passionate about or could see yourself doing at insane volume, right? The fact that your hobbies are creating content and comedy, you could do that 80 hours a week, 100 hours a week, and not get burnt out because you're so passionate about it, and it would drive you, right? So trying to force something that you're not actually genuinely passionate or see yourself doing time and time again, because the amount of volume input needed to be successful is way the fuck bigger than most people think.
Yeah.
And you hit that burnout mode pretty quickly if you're doing it for a paycheck or for eyeballs, and you know what I mean? Like finding that alignment where that will pull you forward is super critical.
Yeah. I don't think of it in terms of passion. You can think of it in terms of passion, and a lot of people do. I think of it in terms of personality. Like, what does my personality lend itself to?
Yeah.
Do I like connecting with people? You've always been super gregarious and outgoing. That's why you went into real estate for a while and sales, right? Same, I'm guessing, with you, outgoing, gregarious, like you like to make people laugh. And
you go out there, you find.
So maybe not passion, but the right seat to
100%.
complement your natural abilities.
Yeah.
Well, there's also something to be said, like, even so, I am passionate about comedy. I have learned there's some God-given ability with me in my comedy that, like, the more I practice it, like, you know, it's just like a different level. But in order to make money at comedy, you have to be able to understand all the other things. So whatever you're passionate about, you do have to branch out from there
100%.
to make opportunities for yourself. Like just speaking to the comedy sense, like, you know, I like making movies. My goal is to like make movies with my friends, do like Happy Madison production like Adam Sandler.
Yeah, love it.
It's like ultimate goal, but in order to do that, you got to find the distributor for the movie. So you start working backwards, like who will buy this product and everything. So even as a comedian, like, I like to make people laugh. That's the thing I always want to do. But I learned that in order to have that opportunity, I had to learn how to video edit. I had to learn camera angles. I had to learn how to record audio. You know, you have to learn so many different things in order to support that passion, to make it a profitable product that people would want to buy.
I think it's so important to say this. Like, Spence and I, we're the co-founders, we're the owners. And a lot of people think like, oh, when you're the quote boss or when you're the owner, right, you don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. And it's the exact opposite. Like, we have to do so much bullshit that we don't want to deal with. And I think there's this idea of like, well, I only like to do this or I only want to do that. And it's like, no, you're always going to have shit that you have to do. And the job of being successful at something is marginalizing the amount of shit that you have to do to the smallest amount. But there's always going to be shit you have to do. And so just understanding that, like you were saying, I just want to do comedy, but I had to learn how to do this and I had to learn how to do this. And so many people are like, well, I don't like that or I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to do it. So they let their dream die on the vine because they're not willing to work through some of the shit to get to the fun parts. And just setting all my brothers out there up for success, there will always be fucking shit you have to wade through. And part of, I think, being a man is it's your duty to wade through that to get to the other side of the vine, so to speak, so that you can start to do the things that you really enjoy doing.
This one's from Dusty. I want to simplify his question a little bit and be like, what was a failure that you had?
Painful, life-crushing, debilitating experience of your life.
And how did you come back from it?
Dusty, I don't know who you are. I don't know where you are, but I feel you, brother. I love you. My guess is the presupposition from the question is you're dealing with some shit right now. And I think it's such a relevant question to the world we're living in, because there's a lot of shit popping off. There's wars around the world. There's angst and anxiety and fear. And a lot of people are struggling. You know, I just saw the statistic that there's the highest level of consumer credit card debt in the history of the world right now. So I think it's a relevant time to talk about it. What is something that you really struggled with, Spence? What is like a very painful experience, and how did you get through it?
Yeah. How much time do we have?
3 minutes. Go.
I mean, I've had a lot, right? I think as we grow, the more time on earth, the more time you have to fail. And so I can pick a bunch of them, but I think the biggest one and how I got through it was just extreme ownership and accountability, that it was 100% my fault, the situation that I was in, and 100% committed to correcting it and growing and evolving into a man that could grow out of that situation. And one of the hardest things, I think, when you're trying to commit to anything or change anything, it's easy to say, oh, I'm 99% in, I'm 98% in. Well, that's a fucking failure, because either you're all the fuck in or you're all the way out. So whatever you're trying to grow through, for me, I mean, relating back to Dusty's question, it's like, just commit and burn the fucking boats and raise your standards to a level that you will accept nothing less than the man that requires you to be, and having no other options. And if you make that commitment, it's amazing what you can do when you really have no other options. Whether it's a relationship that you're committing to, whether it's a business you're committing to turning around, you have that one fucking goal and you never fucking back down away from it, and there's no other options, and nothing, in my opinion, nothing is out there that can stop you from accomplishing that and growing through that. It takes a lot of fucking work.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to happen on its own. You have to put in the work to fucking evolve. But
yeah, I think so. I think you touched on 3 very, very important things that I want to start my answer with. Is like, the way that you get out of it is radical responsibility, complete ownership. This is my fucking fault. I did this. I have to own it and move on.
No one's going to save me.
Yeah. So I think that's like, anytime you find yourself in a really difficult position, whether or not, like, oftentimes I think, I didn't do that, it's not my fault, that happened, you know, this was a ripple effect of this, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, you might not have been responsible for it, but you're responsible to it, if that makes sense. And what that means is you always have to take accountability and responsibility for the way that you let that event impact and direct your life. So it might not have been something of your direct doing, but you still have to take responsibility for it happening in your life and then manage forward from that point. So for me, the entry point into changing is always radical responsibility. This is my fucking fault and I have to own it. And then from that point, it gives you the power to move through it, to overcome it. But if you're blaming other people, if you're a victim, they have the power over you because they're doing it to you. But if you take ownership of it, you're taking the power back, and now it's your responsibility because it's your fault. And that gives you the capacity to then move through it. So that's number 1. Number 2 is we get what we tolerate in life. So correcting that mistake comes down, I believe, to the standards that you set for yourself, which is what you talked about, Spence. This is who I'm going to be, and I'm not going to fucking waver, and I'm not ever going to allow myself to settle for less than what I know I should be or can be. And then the third one is, I think discipline is one of the greatest superpowers we can develop in our life. It's a muscle, and you develop it by flexing it, right? It's like you go to the gym and you train your body, you have to train your discipline the same way. And so to me, the way that I've worked my way out of my most fucked up situations are taking radical responsibility and complete ownership, realizing that it was low standards that allowed that mistake to happen, and then finally developing the discipline required to work through it. With that said, I think, so my biggest quote catastrophe in life was in the business arena. At this point in my life, I've had way more business experience than a lot of other areas of my life. I don't have a serious relationship or anything like that. So for me, the most painful experiences have come from business. And I went from a place of bankruptcy to like making a couple $1,000,000 and feeling like I had finally arrived and I made it and I could do no wrong. And then I made a series of very bad strategic decisions and lost everything. And at one point in time, I'd sold a couple of companies and had $500,000 in cash in my bank and was like, I'm the fucking man. I made it. I got this shit figured out. And then over 9 months, I lost everything. So I started from bankruptcy, nothing, built it all the way up to where I was a, quote, millionaire. I'd made money, right? And then I'd lost everything. And I remember I was sitting there like afraid to admit that I was afraid because I didn't know how I was going to build it back. And I couldn't wrap my head around how I allowed myself to make those very shitty decisions along the way. And the truth is, it was the fact that low standards allowed me to make those decisions, but it was also ignorance because I didn't know what I didn't know. And I say that because I think oftentimes as men, especially, like no one can really beat us up as much as we can beat ourselves up, right?
That's true.
And
I second that.
and sometimes we have to give ourselves compassion for what we don't know that we didn't know. And so in this process, like, yes, you got to take radical responsibility. Yes, you have to raise your standards. Yes, you have to have discipline. But also, and this is where I think grace comes in, is you have to be honest with yourself and say, was this a mistake of ignorance? Or was this just me doing something I know I shouldn't have done? And if it's you shouldn't have done it, then that's where the standards and the personal accountability and responsibility come in. If it's a mistake of ignorance, like we don't know what we don't know until we know it. And so I think that dwelling on that actually holds us back more than most other things in life. And we've been there where we've made a big mistake and we've just beat ourselves up over and over and over. And that will keep us stuck and hold us back more than almost anything else. So I think the secret ingredient here is being honest with yourself about why the mistake happened, and then having compassion with yourself and allowing some grace to work in your life, because our biggest setbacks create our greatest opportunities. And the reason why we have built such a successful company at Live Bearded is we are great partners and we have complementary skill sets. But I can guarantee you the only reason why I've been able to lead this company as a CEO to the direction into where we're at is because I went through that pain and I lost everything. And I was like, I will never, ever allow myself to make these mistakes again. And so working together, we've very specifically done things that I did then that we will never do now. And that grace part is knowing that obstacles lead to opportunities, and that our most painful moments create our biggest growth, our biggest opportunities to evolve. And so radical responsibility, higher standards, discipline, and then grace.
The only thing I might add, I think when you hit rock bottom, it's interesting because you have no other option but to burn the boats. Sometimes it's harder when you're in that middle ground space. And if you're struggling to change behavior, I think one of the easiest ways to do that is change your environment. We've all heard it. Your net worth is your network. The people you surround yourself with, when you talk about accountability, like sometimes it's hard as individuals to reflect and say like, oh, I need to step up here. But when you surround yourself with valued men with high fucking standards that will call you out on your shit and elevate you, that's going to help you through that process. So going back to Dusty's question, I feel like take a look at who you're hanging out with. Like, are they pulling you down, or are they motivating you to step up and be a better man? And sometimes we can rely on our, the people in our corner to support.
Find a group of men that have less tolerance for bullshit in their life, and give them permission to call your ass out and hold you accountable. And then when they do, thank them.
100%.
Know that it's coming from a position of love.
100%.
And we've done that to each other over the course. I mean, we've been friends since 2006.
Yeah.
17 years.
2006. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to have that for sure.
Have that.
So I think it's a beautiful question, and I think it's an important conversation to have. And I appreciate Dusty asking.
Yeah, thanks, Dust. Appreciate you, bro.
Those are all the questions we have for the community
That's
today.
it. That's it. That's three.
Yeah.
Damn, this show
That's all three questions
all
from
right.
the community that we have today.
Awesome.
If you want your question answered, be sure to email us at ask@livebearded.com. Send us your question there. We'll put it on the podcast.
You can comment on this YouTube video as well.
Also
Let us
comment.
know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do it all. Do all the things. Share it, comment, like it.
Yeah, if you got value from the show, again, we started this show because we love having conversations with men about the experience of being a man. It's one of the things we love most here at Live Bearded, and we wanted to extend this out and have a broader conversation with our community. So if you like the show, please let us know. Drop a comment. Tell us what you think.
We do have one more segment, though.
We
Sounds like we're wrapping up. We're not done yet, though.
Stay tuned.
We got one more thing.
Do better, dude.
Yeah, the Do Better Dude. The Do Better Dude. Anthony, you want to explain what our Do Better Dude is?
Yes. So the Do Better Dude, we started this because we live in a world that likes to highlight the negative bullshit in the day, right? And we want to take the other approach. We want to highlight dudes out there that are living by that better every day, do better ethos. So JR selects a guy every week. He tells us the story. We shout him out, and just a simple way to recognize men that are on the path to doing better every day.
Who you got for us this week, JR?
I'll put the link to the story in the video description below so you can read about it later, but just top-down view looking at it. His name is Anthony Carrasco.
Great name.
He went to UC Berkeley.
Carrasco is solid. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Wait, why Carrasco? Wait, what about the name?
He said Anthony
Anthony.
Carrasco. He said great name because his name's Anthony. I
Carrasco.
Said, yeah, he was actually referring to Carrasco.
I'm a little slow right now,
Thought
but
the
I
joke
got
thing
it.
was your thing.
I know. I know. Do you know how embarrassing that is right now? Anthony went to school at UC Berkeley, but before he even got to that school, he was 17. He had a really hard life growing up, kind of classic of like, just struggles with family and everything. And he ended up being homeless, not like making hardly any money, but he wanted to turn his life around. He started attending community college first, and then he got into UC Berkeley, which to me in my mind, like when you think of Berkeley, it's like elite sounding, I don't know if it's technically considered Ivy League school or anything like that, but like it's a pretty decent school. And to go from community college to there is like, wow, he got it. He figured it out. Especially someone coming from nothing. Like he definitely had to like find some sort of scholarship to get his school paid for and all that. But anyways, coming from nothing, he worked his way up, and now he just won an award. Yeah, he was celebrated for the Chris Kindness Award, because what he's done with his education and everything is he's actually started paying it forward back to the community. And he's helping other people who are homeless find housing and get off the streets and be able to make something better with their lives. So this is a guy who started at nothing, worked his way up to a place where he was able to help people and reach back out to the community, which is just such a great thing to pay it for. Like you hear about billionaires and everything, and like everyone's like, eat the rich or something like that. But when you look at someone like this isn't a billionaire. This is a very normal man who had great success in his career, and then he's now paying it forward out.
Yeah,
Just
it's a great example of turning your pain into your purpose. Right? Because he went from on the streets. Gotta imagine there's a lot of pain there. Now he's on the other side of it. Now it's part of his purpose. Right? And going back to what we were saying a minute ago, like your most challenging situations can become the greatest opportunities for you in the future if you allow them to.
Well, yeah, just to tag on that, they say, I mean, the best people you can support, serve, or help is the previous version of yourself.
Yeah.
Right. And so he's grown through this pain of being homeless. He understands that world intimately, and be able to step in and support those people. I mean, it's insanely valuable.
Yeah. How many people that are, quote, homeless, right? And I don't want to project here, but they have a victim mentality. Yeah. They blame the man for being in the situation that they are. They feel hopeless, like they can't figure it out. And here comes this kid that's like, hey, I was exactly where you are, and now I'm here, right? And this is why I think the greatest gift we have is each other. Because if we can learn and grow through each other's examples and experiences, and exactly what you said, Spence, help the man we once were fight through the pains and the struggles that you're growing through, man, what an amazing story. What a great gift that he's giving. And this goes back to the question from Dusty, like, what was your most devastating situation? I guarantee you the only way he went from homeless to like lawyer from Berkeley Law is he took radical responsibility for being on the streets. Mm-hmm. He raised his fucking standard and said, I'm not going to fucking live my life like this. And then he had a severe amount of discipline to fucking study and work and do whatever was required. And then I guarantee you, he brought a little bit of grace into the moment and said, okay, like I'm a young kid. I got to figure this out. I got to believe in something that's going to carry me through, that's going to take me where I want to go. Build those things together, and you got a fucking badass like Anthony C. Carrasco.
Any more of that?
Yeah, great name.
Yeah.
Great name.
Carrasco.
Carrasco.
I got it.
Oh,
great
man.
job, Anthony.
Awesome. Thanks
Carrasco.
for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, again, guys, that is the show. We've got 3 questions. We've got a Do Better Dude of the Week. If you found value in the show, if you liked it, give us a comment. Let us know. This is going to come out once a week. Probably going to drop it on Fridays. And we just love having conversation with you guys. We love the community that we've built here at Live Bearded. We are here to serve and support you guys. If there's ever anything you need, all you got to do is reach out. Drop your questions below.
Yeah, and give us feedback, guys. This is obviously episode 1, right? So we're learning as we go here, building the plane as we fly. We want to hear your feedback, honest feedback. If you like certain sections, if you want to hear more, drop them in the comments, shoot us an email, and we want to hear it all.
Yeah,
Good-
if you
good,
want
bad,
us
and ugly.
to record on location too, like Hawaii Beach,
We can-
let us know that too. I'm sure we can find a way to make that work, right? Right. No.
It's very.
You might have to give up your
thematic.
5 shirt.
I will go shirtless if we do it on the beach in Hawaii.
I love it. With
TBD.
that,
DVD.
all right, guys, that's the show for the week. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. We truly appreciate it. Can't wait to talk to you guys next week. And as always,
Live
bearded.